What it do, comic babies? I'm Bunkmaster V, and today we get to talk about one of my absolute favorite things in the world. That's right, we're talking about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So, if you guys don't already know, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan. You see the hoodie. Just let me take a little quick swig of my coffee. This coffee was bad. Worth it for the bit. And then I got a whole bunch of Power Rangers comics. I got some of the action figures. I grew up with the show, and kind of most importantly for me is I've been able to rediscover that by watching it with my kids and seeing them get excited both about the original series I used to watch and then some of the newer ones that I had missed out on, but getting to watch that with them. And so just for all of those reasons, it is a super near and dear series to my heart. And especially at this point, I would say my biggest part of the fandom is the comics. I am huge fan of the Power Rangers comics. I've said before, I think that the Boom Studios Power Rangers series is the best team book that is on shelves. I've thought that for a while. I think it's just been so consistently high quality, both with the writing, the storylines that are going on, the character development, the interpersonal connections that you get, just the big, huge action sequences, the way that they incorporate pre-existing lore, they build their own. I think there's so many clever things that are happening with those comics. I absolutely love them. I wrote a big article on Comics Are Dope about them. If you're here, you probably know how much I love Power Rangers. And recently, we had kind of the end of an era. Power Rangers number 100. It's a little bit of a legacy number since after, I think it was like 55, the Necessary Evil storyline, the series split into Mighty Morphin, which followed the Earth-based Mighty Morphin team, and then Power Rangers, which followed the space-based Omega Rangers. And then for issue number 100, they formed back together, got the team back together. And that was the end of Ryan Parrott on the series. Ryan Parrott had started back with Go-Go Power Rangers years ago, which was kind of the sister series in the beginning. And then after Kyle Higgins left, we had Marguerite Bennett came on the book with Beyond the Grid, which was just about 10 issues or so. It was a pretty short arc that followed a separate Ranger team headed by the Ranger Slayer, which is why she's on the cover there. And then we had Ryan Parrott take over the main title with the beginning of the Necessary Evil storyline, which I think is issue number 40? 41. Okay. And so at that point, he was doing both the Go-Go series and Mighty Morphin. He jumped off on Mighty Morphin for a few of the issues near the end. He was still writing Power Rangers all the way up to issue 100, and then 100 right here was his last actual issue. And even when he had taken over, Ryan Parrott and Kyle Higgins are actually friends in real life. They had been talking all throughout it. I talked to Kyle Higgins at a con. He actually said the idea for the Omega Rangers was one that he came up with, and then Ryan kind of took and incorporated into his story. So there was this very clear kind of path that had happened with that. So with the release of issue number 101 and the new creative team that we got, this was really kind of a completely new era. So we had gone from very much a passing of the torch from Kyle Higgins with a short interlude by Marguerite Bennett. That's almost a side story that really doesn't affect the greater Mighty Morphin Power Rangers story. But we have with issue 101 here, which you can see in the non-full art cover, written by Melissa Flores, art by Simona Di Gianfelice and Raul Angulo. Apologies to everyone. We get a new team that's coming in and kind of changing directions a little bit. And I want to talk today about what that is. Issue 106 just came out, which I kind of thought was going to be wrapping up the first arc. There's clearly a lot of story left to go here, but I think it's a good point to kind of talk about what's going on, what this new era of the Power Rangers are. This is going to be a spoiler-free overview. Basically, if it didn't show up in solicits, I'm not going to talk about it here. I don't want to ruin anyone's experience with it. But if you want to go into this completely blind, if you don't want to see anything, here's my spoiler-free review. This era is dope. Melissa Flores is doing awesome things with it. Simona is killing it on the art. I mean, this series has had such consistently good art. She is putting her own style on it. It doesn't look like she's looking like any of the previous artists that have come on, but it looks so good. The colors, as always, pop. I can't say enough good things about this book. It's tough to say how I would compare it to the previous ones that have gone on. It's, we're only 6 issues into it, but I'm really excited to see what's happening. So, let's talk specifically. All right, so Power Rangers 101. Check it out. This is what we got right here. So, like I said, new era, and it really kind of starts off telling you exactly what this arc is going to be. And this is all about reestablishing Rita Repulsa as the Rangers' #1 villain. Rita's been out of the picture now for a while. In fact, I think the last time we really saw her was back around the Shattered Grid era. Before that, we got a lot with Zed, and they introduced some things in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with the Eltarians coming in, and Rita's just been kind of MIA for a while. And Rita, of course, is the Rangers' #1 villain. She was the one that started off, the classic season 1 intro. After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth. And this is all about sort of putting Rita back up #1 and kind of resetting the status quo. And so we get some moments, really like this right here. We get little Green Ranger, Yellow Ranger romance, which I appreciate. If you've been following along, this Green Ranger has a little bit of a backstory with Kimberly, much like this former Green Ranger, and just kind of giving Aisha a little bit of her own storyline, since so much of what she had been before is just kind of that, part of the new crew. She's kind of had a camaraderie with Rocky and Adam right here as being sort of the newcomers. And I really like what they've done with Aisha, where, these two guys are a little bit more passive. Aisha is more about getting out there, kind of proving that she existed. And I really like that they're kind of giving her a little something, and just I really appreciated that. So, we get life on Earth, we get some normal things. Obviously, we get some awesome transition. And again, I want to take a look at just how natural this new artist, Simona, looks on the title here. Like, I love what's going on right here. She looks like she was absolutely meant to be, on a Power Rangers title. But, so we get through, and something's going on with some of our villainous forces. I'm not going to go really any further in this one because, like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. But we see a reset of the status quo. We get the Zords not working. We get them going on there. And we're going to see right there that Rita gets a redesign. Absolutely necessary, I think. One of the common complaints that people have is that Rita's original form with the cone boobs just kind of looks pretty ridiculous. And so really what we get to see in these next few arcs, by the way, I have to show off. I have the 1 in 50 from David Mack. This is one of my just absolute favorite Power Rangers covers I have. Oh, it's so gorgeous. But what we see over the next few issues, and I'm not going to show any more of the interiors for a bit, just because I want to show... I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who might be worried about that, so I'll just kind of show these off for a bit. Is that we have, in addition to sort of Rita reasserting herself as kind of the major force, we have a little bit of a shakeup of the personalities. We get to see a far more assertive Kim, which we'd seen a little bit of there, and I really like, Kim kind of taking charge, being a little bit more assertive and aggressive, and just not just completely going along with what the plans are if she doesn't think that's the right thing. We see Billy taking a little bit more of a back seat. He's taken on more of that advisor role that he was doing in Zeo, which I appreciate right there. We get to see, the new Rangers who previously had been kind of just fill-ins for Jason, Trini, and Zach when they go up to the Peace Summit. We get to really see a spotlight on them as characters, which I think is really cool, and I really appreciate that there. And I really like what she's doing. I really like the mythos she's bringing. And that brings us to issue 104. This is my favorite issue of the new arc, and this is what I'm going to show a little bit here. And this is where it really kind of, you don't need to be a Power Rangers TV fan of kind of the extended series to know what's going on. It fills you in with everything. But it's an awesome Rita story, and it rewards you from knowing kind of some of the rest of what's going on. So we get to see what happened, how Rita got her power up, and why she starts going as Mistress Vile. And we get some great scenes right here. But really, what I love is that it starts expanding the universe a little bit more. I don't know that we'll ever see the series fully transition like the TV series did to a Zeo or Turbo, or we got to see a few of the In Space Rangers in some of the previous titles, but I don't think that's ever going to be the focus of the title. They know that the core Mighty Morphin team is what people want here. But we get some things like Diva Talks, who is the main villain from Turbo and is one of my favorite Power Rangers villains. I mean, she's so campy, but the actresses that play her, there's two of them, they really get into it and just, really have fun with it in a way that I think a lot of the other villains don't necessarily walk that fine line of being very, very campy, but, with a little bit of like a wink to the audience. And so we have Diva Talks, Elgar, and some of the other villains that you get here from Turbo. They show up here. We get Master Vile, who was introduced at the end of Season 1 as Rita's father and Brito's father. And we just get some of the familiar rogues galleries coming back in and being introduced in a way that I think is really, really interesting. And we get to see kind of what her motivation is. We get to see what it is that she's doing, how she's reemerging. Again, we get to see some kind of familiar faces from some of the later series. We're getting some in-space stuff going on here. And I really love that this, how they kind of took a solo Rita issue and really made it a captivating read and one that kind of rewarded, your knowledge of where the series is. There's one Rita issue with like a little bit more. It's from Go-Go Power Rangers. It's in the Necessary Evil hardcover number 1. That one talks about her 10,000 years in imprisonment in the dumpster at the beginning. I love that one. I can't recommend that one enough, but this is definitely the second best Rita issue in the series. And then we get to 105 and 106. And first off, look at these awesome covers. Shout out to Torian Clark. He's doing some amazing work. He's also doing some of the covers over on MMPR 2. Really, really awesome scenes right here. 105 kind of continues what's going on here. 106 really, again, shows that Melissa Flores isn't afraid to play with kind of the pieces on the board that she has. So previously, there was kind of a split when we had the Mighty Morphin team had its own title, and then Power Rangers had their own title, and they both had kind of their own focus. This is looking at a few different teams. The Omega Rangers, they're still being handled out in Safe Haven. We still have the Mighty Morphin team, but we've got people in a whole lot of different areas. We've got villainous forces in different parts, and just Flores is doing a really, really good job of kind of keeping everyone in check, building everyone's storylines, kind of keeping it together. And there's a major, major character redesign and sort of character change that we see at the end of 106, that again, I'm not going to spoil what that is, that feels a little cheesy, but I'm very interested to see what she does with it. This very much does not feel like a completed first arc. I'm sure that this will be released as a trade, 101 to 106, kind of that new era. It is not a complete story. Last page is very much to be continued. It's not a to be concluded. There's still a lot that's going on with this. There is not any kind of conclusion. I will say that Flores is definitely taking a longer story approach, like issue 105 right here. It's almost hard to say that anything really happens here, but it's a great issue. It's continuing a lot of the things that we see. You don't get any revelations. There's a cool fight scene that's in there. You get to kind of, it continues to build up the issues that have been going on. But I mean, there's not really anything of consequence that you can really take away from 105. And I kind of feel that way about a lot of the series, is that it's a very decompressed series. Flores is really letting the stakes build up, but I really like that. I don't mind kind of that longer approach. I like what she's doing. I like the time that she's spending with the Rangers. And as long as she wants to keep telling the story, I will keep reading it and I will keep checking it out, even if it's stretched out over a long time. But that's just my take. Is anybody else out there reading it? Have you guys been checking out the post-issue 100 Power Rangers era? And if so, what do you guys think? I'd love to hear about it. Tell me what you guys are thinking about this series, or even just, does this make you want to read it? Does it make you not want to read it? Let me know what you're thinking about this down in the comments. But with that, I've been Bunkmaster B. You all have been amazing. Catch you next time.